The latest news from the Bank of England. Well, I think we've got it in a clip here.
Oh, ostrich, consider how the world we know is trembling on the brink. Have you heard the news? May I hear your views? Will you tell me what you think? The ostrich lifted his head from the sand about an inch or so.
You will please excuse, but disturbing news I have no wish to know.
Well, Peekaboo, I can see you. It's 2023, a year of recession. And the culpability for this recession must surely lie with the Bank of England. Why ostriches? What are ostriches famous for? They bury their head in the sand. They don't listen to or learn from experience. They don't see what is happening and act upon it. They hide from it. And what did happen? Well, during COVID, there was excessive quantitative easing. This went well beyond what was necessary when supply was short, that things weren't getting through. Goods weren't getting into the UK because of complications with deliveries. And that inevitably meant that there was likely to be inflation. Indeed, it was pointed out that inflation was likely to happen by people like John Redwood and Andy Haldane, the economist, the chief economist at the Bank of England, warned of inflation, but they ignored him. And interest rates were increased too slowly. Other countries started putting theirs up. The Federal Reserve was faster to act, but the Bank of England didn't. It was slothful. And that meant that inflation was worse than it needed to be. Indeed, if they hadn't done the final round of quantitative easing, inflation may not have been as bad altogether. But now it's the reverse problem. Having been slow to act in the first place, it's now slow to react. It is cutting too slowly. Interest rates ought already to be coming down because inflation is a lagging indicator. What do I mean by that? Inflation happens after the event. So you have the monetary action, QE, or interest rate changes, and then inflation comes at some time later. It doesn't happen in a synchronized fashion. And that's why it's so important to look forward and estimate what may be about to happen before you make your changes. And that's what the bank hasn't done. The governor is blaming this on poor data. Well, that's actually not a new criticism. In 1956, Harold Macmillan said that it was like running the economy on last year's Bradshaw. Well, Bradshaw was the train railway timetable guide, and it was saying that he was doing it on out-of-date information. All economic policy is done on out-of-date information. That's the whole point. That's the job. And unfortunately, the Treasury, the OBR, the Bank of England model doesn't work, and it's stultifying policy making, and it means that we're not getting the right decisions through. And this combines with the worrying rise in economic inactivity, the 9.3 million people who are economically inactive. And that's gone up by about 1 million. We need to get people back into work, and that's partly by ensuring that the benefit system, which was doing a very good job from 2010 in the early years of the Conservative and coalition governments in getting people back to work, we need to re-emphasise that. But we also need dynamic economic policy. We need the government to be spending less, to be wasting less. We need civil servants back at work, and we need to leave more money in your pocket. We need the tax cuts that may help stimulate growth. We also need interest rate cuts, but the ostriches may not be providing that immediately. As ever, let me know your thoughts, mailmog@gbnews.com.